Exhortations, we have been reviewing what the church has believed at all times and in all places. Then we reviewed what the church has not believed in all times or agreed upon in all places. And that's where we are now. And we today turn to, in our exhortation, to the scintillating discussion of polity. And for that, let me read Acts 14. When Paul and Barnabas had preached the gospel to that city and had made many disciples, they returned to Lystra, Iconium, and Antioch, strengthening the souls of the disciples and, appointed elders in each of those churches. Praying with fasting, they commended them to the Lord. And Paul does two major things as he creates the church after Pentecost. First, he evangelized in order to make disciples. And then, often on a second trip or a third trip, he would return to those disciples and appoint elders among them. Not only does Paul do this, he sends other peoples to do this as well. Titus 1:5, "For this reason I have left you in Crete. You should set in order the things that are lacking and appoint elders in every city." An established church has elders. A church without elders, according to this, would be lacking. So elders are very important to a church. There are other terms used for leadership in a church. Pastors and preacher is perhaps the most common one in our day, but if you look at Scripture, there's also servants and ministers and shepherds and soldiers and ambassadors of Christ and angels of the church, and my favorite, stewards of the mysteries of God, 1 Corinthians 4:1. Names that conjure up many wonderful images. But whenever the Bible gets down to the nitty-gritty of leadership discussions, the other names take a sideline, and the name elder is the one used. And the church, and the Greek word for elder is presbyteros. And if you've ever heard the word Presbyterian, well, therefore, you know what it means. It means having elders. Presbyterian is a form of church polity. Polity refers to how a church is run. Presbyterianism is one form of those polities. There are others. One historic form is called congregational. It believes that the congregation runs the church. The other historic form is called episcopal, and this means that there is a head honcho in charge of the church, either a head pastor or a pope. If we were to put this into politics, congregationals would be pure democracy. Every citizen votes for everything. Episcopal would be absolute monarchy. One person runs the show. He might make bureaucracies to keep things going for him, but he's the head. And the Presbyterian would be what is popularly called Republican, or more accurately called representational government. As a church, we see that biblical polity as being Presbyterian. We believe that leaders of a church are naturally and most healthily, salubriously, made from people inside the church. And we see that the qualifications for those elders are, and for the leadership of the church, is not the voting or not executive power of one. It is a matter of character. That's why when we get back to that nitty-gritty, we read things like this. If a man is blameless, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not self-willed, not quick-tempered, not given to wine, not violent, not greedy, but hospitable, a lover of what is good, sober-minded, just, holy, and self-controlled, holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught, that he may be able to lead. Isn't it interesting that God would have his church led not so much by congregational voting or executives with full control, but instead with elders with godly character? And to that degree, though we will not all be church elders, we are all on that same road, for we are all called to grow in the character of Christ.